My brother-in-law tried to destroy me. Have you ever discovered that the person your family trusts most stabbed you in the back? What if this person was executing their plan while sitting at your table in your own home? What you're about to hear will shock you. Are you ready? Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm 52 years old, and I own a small accounting firm in Boston. This story tells about the darkest period of my life and how I finally got back on my feet. But let me tell you this first. This wasn't just family drama. This was a real war, and I was almost losing. Everything started after my husband Tom's sudden death. He had a heart attack. He was only 54 years old. The doctors at Massachusetts General Hospital said they did everything they could, but Tom's heart couldn't take it. During that period, my brother-in-law Kevin was my only support. He was Tom's younger brother, and we had always been close to him. He worked as a realtor in Salem, and after the funeral, I suggested he move into my house. I thought it would be good for both him and my two sons, Jake and Ryan. The first 6 months were perfect. Kevin was helping with housework, playing basketball with the kids, coming to school meetings, and even giving some financial advice for my firm. We were living like a real family in our house in Beacon Hill. Kevin was helping the children with math in the evenings and dealing with garden work on weekends. Even the neighbors said how lucky I was to have such a supportive brother-in-law. But in the 7th month, I started noticing strange things. The first sign was Kevin's midnight phone conversations. One night, when I went down to the kitchen to get water late at night, I saw him talking on the phone. He had lowered his voice and closed the door. When I listened carefully, I heard him say, "Yes, some of the insurance money came in, but I still can't get full control. Sarah still keeps everything in her own hands. Calm down. Everything is going according to plan. Just need a little more time." I froze at that moment. What insurance money was he talking about? And who should calm down? Tom's life insurance was $500,000, and every penny was for me and the children's future. When I asked him the next morning, he just said it was a business call, that he was talking to a new client in Salem. Kevin was a realtor. It seemed logical, but a worm started gnawing inside me. From that day on, I started looking at him with different eyes. In the following weeks, Kevin's behavior became even stranger. He was taking my mail first. I felt like he was listening to my phone conversations, especially when envelopes came from the bank or insurance company. He would immediately grab them, saying, "I can help you, Sarah. These kinds of documents are very complicated." One day, he asked me to put important documents from the bank on my desk, saying, "Let's review your financial situation. Maybe I can give you investment advice." When I put the documents on my desk that night, I noticed that someone had shuffled them, and some pages were even missing. Kevin also started insisting on taking me to the doctor. "Sarah, you're very stressed after Tom. Maybe you should take antidepressants," he kept saying. Finally, I couldn't stand it and went to Dr. Williams' clinic. He said I only had mild anxiety, which was normal after such a big loss. But I didn't understand why Kevin got so angry when he saw this report. The real shock came from my old friend Lisa Martinez. She was also a teacher in Boston, and we had been friends for years. One day, while drinking coffee at Starbucks, she told me, "Sarah, I heard something very strange. I heard Kevin saying he was trying to get you hospitalized. He was saying you were having serious depression and the children's safety was in danger." My breath was cut off. I spilled coffee on my hand. "What do you mean, Lisa?" He was talking to Sarah Thompson in line at Whole Foods last week. Kevin told her that you were in very bad condition, that you sometimes hurt yourself, that you were neglecting the children. He even claimed that Jake was showing violent tendencies at school, that this stemmed from your instability. The most shocking thing was that he said he met with a social service specialist and was researching the procedure for taking children into protective custody. My world collapsed. How could this be possible? Jake was an honor student, and Ryan was the star of the school basketball team. There was no question of neglect or violent tendencies. When I confronted Kevin at home that night, he looked at me innocently. He was watching TV, acting as if nothing had happened. "Sarah, you've been very stressed lately. Maybe it would be good to get professional help. You know, you struggled a lot after Tom. The children notice your condition too." "What? Help? Kevin, who have you been talking to about me?" "I'm just worried about you, and the children too. Last night Jake told me that you cry at night, that you sometimes say strange things." This was an outright lie. I had talked to Jake that morning. I knew for sure he hadn't said such a thing. At that moment I understood. This was planned, systematic. But I still didn't know why. The answer came from Tom's former business partner, Mike Rodriguez. Mike and Tom used to run a small construction company together. One day he came to the company door and said he wanted to talk to me. His face was tense and worried. "Sarah, there's something very important I need to tell you. Kevin contacted me last week. He asked very detailed questions about Tom's life insurance, his share in the company, and the children's education funds. Especially, he wanted to learn how he could manage this money and what legal procedures he would need to follow if he got custody of the children." My blood froze. "What did you tell him?" "Of course I didn't say anything. This information belongs only to you. But Sarah, that man is dangerous. Tom always talked about Kevin's gambling problem. He had big debts at the casinos in Atlantic City. Tom once told me he gave him $20,000, and Kevin lost that at the gambling table too." I couldn't sleep that night. The pieces in my head were starting to come together. Kevin's midnight phone conversations, his efforts to make me look mentally weak, the social services threat, his excessive curiosity about my financial situation. All of it was an orchestrated plan to get custody of the children and seize Tom's inheritance. The next morning, I woke up early and heard sounds coming from Kevin's room door. The corridor was empty. The children hadn't woken up yet. When I put my ear to the door, I heard him talking on the phone again. "2 more weeks. That's all. Prepare the documents. I already got the doctor's report. The woman is really depressed. No one will suspect. The children miss their father too. They're already starting to see me as a father figure." My heart was going to jump out of my chest. What documents? What doctor's report? And who was this person on the phone? That day, after Kevin went to work, I decided to search his room. This was my house. I had the right. In one of his drawers, I found the prescriptions and reports from the day he took me to Dr. Williams. But the reports had been completely altered. The doctor's statement, mild anxiety, part of normal grief process, had been erased and replaced with severe depression, suicidal thoughts, neglect toward children. The forgery was clear and obvious. The most shocking thing was the detailed notes from the meeting with lawyer Jonathan Reed. Documents needed for custody of children, inheritance transfer procedures, medical reports that would prove I was mentally inadequate. Everything was there, planned, calculated. There were also voice recordings Kevin had made on his phone. Moments when I cried at night, times when I argued with the children. He had recorded all of them out of context, as if trying to create the image of an unstable mother. My hand was shaking. This man, my husband's brother, the person who cried at Tom's funeral, the person I thought was sharing our pain with us, was trying to systematically destroy me. And the reason was obvious. Tom's $500,000 life insurance, the value of my house, the children's education funds, a total fortune of $1.2 million. But I wasn't someone who could be hunted so easily. I had run an accounting firm for 20 years. I had dealt with difficult clients, fake documents, financial fraud. I knew how to fight. The first thing I did was call lawyer Carol Stevens, an old work colleague who graduated from Harvard Law School. Carol worked at a prestigious law firm in downtown Boston. I told her everything, took photos of the documents Kevin had altered, and started recording phone conversations. "Sarah," Carol said, "this man is not only a fraudster, but also committing document forgery. This is a federal crime. We need to hire a private detective immediately and document this situation legally." With Carol's suggestion, we hired private detective Marvin Cole. Marvin was a former FBI agent, one of the most experienced detectives in Boston. The first thing he found was Kevin's real financial situation. Throughout that week, I tried to act normal. I kept talking to Kevin and taking care of the children. But Marvin was informing me every minute. Kevin really did have big gambling debts. He owed a total of $180,000 to 3 different casinos at Mohegan Sun, Foxwoods, and Atlantic City. And worst of all, he had lost this money just 2 weeks before Tom's death. Wait a minute. 2 weeks before Tom's death, when Marvin investigated deeper, the truth that emerged shook me. Kevin knew about Tom's heart problem. He had met with Tom's cardiologist, Dr. Peterson, several times, asking detailed questions about Tom's medications, heart attack risks, and side effects of the medications he was taking. The doctor had interpreted this as a worried brother. Even more suspicious was the dinner at the Union Oyster House where Tom had gone last. Tom had said he went alone, but restaurant records showed that Kevin was there the same night, and Tom had started feeling unwell after that dinner and had a heart attack the next morning. Marvin also investigated Kevin's movements during that period. We learned that Kevin had been a medical student in the past and had dropped out after his second year, so he had basic knowledge about medications and dosages. Also, searches like digoxin overdose symptoms and heart attack simulation were found in his internet history. But there was still no concrete evidence, just suspicions and coincidences. When Kevin came home that night, he was different from usual, tense, restless, constantly looking at his phone. "Sarah, you need to go somewhere with the children tomorrow. Go to your mother's in Cape Cod. Important. Guests are coming. Who? Just business people. Clients who will make real estate investments. We can talk more comfortably when you and the children are not here." This excuse seemed very forced. That night, I told my sons everything. 16-year-old Jake and 14-year-old Ryan were shocked, but said they would support me. "Mom, we were already suspicious of Uncle Kevin. He's been asking very strange questions about us and our friends lately," Jake said. "And last week he tried to learn my phone password," Ryan added. "It was like he wanted to listen to our conversations." The next day, I really sent them to my mother's, but I stayed at home. I prepared to expose Kevin's plan together with Carol and Marvin. When Kevin's guests arrived at 2 o'clock, I watched them from the window. There was lawyer Jonathan Reed, social service specialist Ellen Morrison from the Massachusetts Department of Children and Families, and psychiatrist Dr. Patricia Coleman. They were all people who would support Kevin's lies and try to take the children away from me. But while they were going inside, I also entered through the back door with Carol and Marvin. I had activated the digital recording device I had hidden in my bag in the living room while Kevin was telling incredible lies about my mental state to them. I was recording every word. "Sarah has completely lost control. The children are not safe. Last night she threatened to beat Jake. And Ryan is now showing violence at school too. She drinks alcohol constantly at home, walks around naked in the yard at night. Neighbors are complaining." Kevin continued. "Yesterday morning I found her playing with a knife in the kitchen, screaming, 'I'm going to kill everyone.' She burns Tom's photos, acts like she's talking to him. The children are starting to get scared of me too. These lies were so absurd and excessive that I couldn't stand it anymore. It was time to save my life and my children." "Excuse me," I said, entering the living room. "I think you're talking about me." Kevin's face turned white as chalk. The others looked at me in shock. With my elegant suit, makeup, and calm demeanor, I was the complete opposite of the crazy woman image Kevin had described. "Mr. Reed," I said, turning to the lawyer, "all the stories Kevin told you are lies, and you have fake documents in your hands." Kevin jumped up. "Sarah, you shouldn't be here. Where are the children? Are they safe?" "My children are very safe. But where you're going won't be very safe, Kevin." Carol entered at that moment with a file full of evidence. "Gentlemen, ladies, all the documents Mr. Kevin Mitchell presented to you are fake. This woman's doctor report has been altered. This man has $180, zero in gambling debt, and lost this money 2 weeks before Tom Mitchell's death. Marvin also came after her, showing his badge. Former FBI agent Marvin Cole. Mr. Mitchell, you're facing very serious charges." Kevin tried to run to the door in panic, but Marvin stopped him. "You're not going anywhere, son. We have a lot to talk about." That day Kevin was arrested for document forgery, attempted fraud, and suspicions related to Tom's death. Massachusetts State Police obtained a court order for the exhumation of Tom's body. When the autopsy reports were re-examined, it was revealed that the digoxin level in Tom's heart was 3 times higher than normal. But the biggest shock was the WhatsApp messages on Kevin's cell phone. his conversations with loan shark Bobby Torino. The night before Tom's death, he had written, "Tomorrow everything will be over. I'll finally get rid of this debt. The plan is perfect. No one will suspect." The trial process lasted 6 months. Kevin initially denied it, but the evidence was too clear. Finally, he confessed everything. He had added an extra dose to Tom's heart medication, digoxin. He had added it to the meal at the Union Oyster House. Tom's death would appear as a natural heart attack, and Kevin would play the role of sad but supportive brother, rule over me and the children's lives, and control all the inheritance. "My debt was too big, Sarah," he said in court. "Bobby's men were going to kill me. Tom's insurance would save us all. Just a few years. Then I would give everything back to the children." Kevin received a 25-year prison sentence for first-degree murder and conspiracy charges. All of Tom's inheritance legally remained with us. My children learned the truth, and we are now safe. After the trial, I had long conversations with Jake and Ryan. They also said they were uncomfortable with Kevin's behavior, but didn't know how to say it. "Mom, you're very strong," Jake said. "I don't know what another mother would do in this situation." Today, 2 years later, our lives have returned to normal. Jake got into Harvard, and Ryan became the captain of the high school basketball team. I expanded my company. Now I have 8 employees, and after what Kevin did, I learned never to trust anyone blindly. But the biggest lesson I learned from this story is this: even the person you call family can stab you in the back. The person you trust, love, and open your door to can be your biggest enemy. And sometimes you have to fight to the death to survive. So what do you think? Have you ever been betrayed so greatly by a family member? What would you do in this situation? Would you stay silent, or would you fight like I did?